it's being recorded and available to you. Tonight's town hall meeting, as they call them, is really to discuss a number of issues that have come up that we wanted to share with you regarding the COVID situation. We had a town hall meeting for the entire institution, which we got a lot of positive feedback, and there was great information shared at that meeting. But there are a number of issues that are very DACS specific, that are very specific to our division that we wanted to discuss. We were getting a lot of questions. I wanted to share the answers with you. There are a number of recent developments that came up that caused us to have to make some changes, some pretty significant changes. We wanted to share that with you as well. I wanted to give a tremendous yasher koach to our new administrative team, particularly our secular studies staff, Dr. Berman, who some of you have met already. I never met in person yet. Spent many, many hours with him over Zoom, planning the school year, dealing with all the COVID situations, and trying to do our best to set ourselves up for success and being a mechanech the children in a way that's safe for them, safe for the teachers, safe for the rabbeim, and in a way that the parents will be comfortable sending their children to yeshiva and getting the chinuch that we're so excited to provide. I want to thank Rabbi Dreyfus, who took a tremendous lead role in the entire situation and has been putting in countless hours. I'm quite sure that there hasn't been one day that he completely took vacation this year and didn't deal with any yeshiva issues. I'm pretty sure that every single day throughout the summer, he's been dealing with yeshiva issues without even one full day of vacation. I want to give a tremendous thank you to him. And of course, I want to thank the parents for bearing with us. It's not easy to deal with it as a parent. I know I got some at home as well. And we really want to thank you and appreciate your bearing with us. There are going to be some adjustments that you'll hear about tonight that for some people may cause some inconveniences and not be perfect, and may cause some last minute adjustments. We're going to work with you, and we thank you in advance and for the past of working with us in being mechanech your children. We have a short program tonight. We're really keeping it to the COVID issues. We have a back to school night next week. And in Meretz Hashem, we're looking forward to great participation as we have tonight on this meeting now. Tonight, we really just plan to focus on the COVID issues. Next week, we have a back to school night where we hope to deal with the regular issues of back to school night, helping you have a chance to get to know the teachers, to get to know the administration, and to find out more about what will be going on in your son's classes. We hope to take care of all the COVID issues tonight and really just focus on the school issues next week at our back to school night. So please come to that as well. We're going to try and keep tonight brief. The schedule for tonight, we're going to have a chance to hear from Dr. Berman, who's going to give us a little picture of what's been happening over the last few weeks over here and the new situation that we're dealing with. Mr. Schwartz is going to be discussing the changes in the schedule as a result of what you'll hear from Dr. Berman. And Rabbi Dreyfus is going to be the last presentation discussing a number of different COVID issues, how we're dealing with a number of different situations that parents have been asking for feedback about. If at any time you have a question that you would like to submit, you could submit that question. There's should be something on the bottom of your screen, something that says Q&A or something along those lines. You could submit a question over there, and we will do our best to address those questions. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Baruch Hashem, we have 90 families. I don't think you can see the number, but I can see the number here. We have 90 of our families, 91, we'll change that are joining us tonight. And we, once again, really appreciate you participating with us and partnering with us in your children's chinuch. Dr. Berman, it's all yours.
Thank you, Rabbi Brigida. Good evening. My name is Dr. Gur Berman, and I am the Director of General Studies at YTCTE. Rabbi Levine, Zichrono Livracha, was my Rebbe in high school, And I just did want to mention it's very meaningful for me to be involved in ensuring that his legacy endures. I very much look forward to meeting you and your sons in the coming days. Sorry about that. I think I just lost the internet. I'm not sure when you lost me. I'll just say I haven't had a chance over the last couple of weeks to meet DACHS' secular studies faculty. They are incredibly dedicated to your children, to this institution, and to each other. Many of them are veteran and seasoned teachers. This is a great advantage in that their experience provides them with the insight to teach your sons in the best possible way. In our current circumstances, however, there are also some disadvantages. Over the last few weeks and days, as the situation in South Florida has become a little more precarious, and some of our teachers' doctors expressed misgivings about their returning to work under the current circumstances, we as the administrative team have had to step back and recalibrate. And after much deliberation amongst ourselves, and of course in consultation with our esteemed Rosh Yeshiva, we have decided to put in place a temporary plan that will continue until after the Chagim. That plan is to have in-person schools starting regular time, Yeshiva will start regular time, to have the first 2 periods of general studies in school, and then to dismiss the students at around 3, allow them 30 minutes to get home, and then have a modified afternoon schedule from 3:30 to 6:15. Again, I want to emphasize it's not an easy decision. We know, as Rabbi Brigida mentioned, that it may cause inconveniences for some of you. But in balancing, deciding among the different options that were available to us, we thought this was the best option, both in terms of the short-term and long-term best interests of the yeshiva. I do want to pass the virtual mic over to my colleague, Mr. Yoni Schwartz, who will discuss some of the details of the schedule. But before passing it over, I want to thank him for working tirelessly throughout the summer. I don't think he took a day off either, to ensure a smooth start and a smooth continuation of the school year. Thank you, Mr. Schwartz, and I pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Dr. Berman. Good evening. So the schedule, as Dr. Berman started to outline, will look, a typical morning here in Yeshiva, starting with Shachris, going through the first 2 periods in the afternoon. That ensures that all of our Bikiyas classes, all of our Gemara classes will be done here in person. This will allow for all of the students to really, gain tremendously from their Rebbeim and to have their social interactions with their friends. Those classes in the afternoons, in periods 1 and 2, that are secular classes, will be given either through live lessons or through Zoom. There's an option depending on the teacher, and I'll go through that a little bit later. Some teachers will be giving live lessons, others will be zooming in, and the students will be sitting in their classroom and being taught from the teacher remotely. This is going to be in conjunction with our wonderful hybrid program that our IT department has worked tirelessly on setting up, ensuring that students who are not able to come join class in person will be able to participate and not miss out too much on what's going on in the classroom. The schedule for a 9th grader will be as follows. There are 3 different sections for 9th grade secular studies. The period 1 is 2 periods of math and 1 period of science, and we'll be sending out individual schedules in the near future. Our science program for 9th grade will be offered in person for any of the students who are interested in remaining. I'm sorry, first period they'll all be here, and they will be able to be taught in person by their science teacher, so they'll have an opportunity to experience hands-on classes at the beginning. The math class that is offered, the math classes that are offered, the 2 math classes will be offered remotely. Second period will be a Bikiyas class for all of the 9th grade. Depending on who their Rebbe is, that will determine their Bikiyas class, and again, you should be getting all of that shortly. Third period, which is going to be after dismissal, will start at 4 o'clock, and there are 2 English classes that period and 1 history class. Fourth period will be, again, 2 history and 1 English. Fifth period will be a break with PE, and 6th period will be 2 science and 1 math. Now, this schedule that your children will be attending on Zoom mirrors the in-class schedule that they would have and that they will hopefully have after the Chagim. It will be the same schedule, the same structure of schedule in terms of which classes are going to be before and after and who the teachers are will all stay the same. 10th grade will start off, first period is Bikiyas classes. There are 4 different options this year. Then we'll have a second period, which would be a history class, a English class, or a science class. And once again, the science class will be offered in person. The third period is a PE period, a science period, and the math period. The fourth period is a math period or a PE period. The fifth period is a history, a science, or a math. And the sixth period is a history and 2 English periods. And again, your children will be getting their schedules shortly, so you'll know exactly where your sons fit in within the schedule. 11th grade, once again, we have 4 sections of Bikiyas. Then second period is either going to be math or PE. Third period is 2 different science classes or a math class. Fourth period is a science class or a PE. Fifth period is English language arts on an honors level or an AP level, which you'll be hearing about more shortly, and a government class. And then sixth period, once again, is a government class and an English opportunity. And then 12th grade, which is a little bit of a different schedule. I'm actually going to defer the entire schedule over to Rabbi Dreyfus, who will explain it a little bit more. But also there will be a modified schedule based on the dismissal time due to the distant learning of our veteran teachers and their current medical needs. Again, I'd like to thank my colleagues, and I'd like to hand over the microphone to Rabbi Dreyfus.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hello, hello. Do you hear me?
You're good.
Okay, I apologize there. There was an issue with the computer, but Baruch Hashem, we're moving forward. In case you were listening to Mr. Schwartz's presentation and you felt quite confused by the schedule, I must tell you that the reason for it is because for many years, we spent a lot of time trying to create schedules that are really mat'im, are really a fit with the needs of each of the students. And so there are some students in the same grade that are taking this science and other ones taking an entirely different science, and honors and a regular, a basic, all according to their needs. So at the same time, in one class, in one grade, there's a lot of different classes going on. But rest assured, when the boys come, we talk them through it, we walk them through it, we print out their individual schedules, and Bez Hashem, after the first day or two, everyone is acclimated and are moving forward with the schedule. So I hope it gave you a broader picture, but shortly you'll get the more detailed picture, and that'll hopefully make it a lot easier for you to follow your son's schedule, and more importantly, for your son to follow his own schedule. The first two questions I'm going to address, I don't know if they were asked yet, but in listening to the presentation, these are certainly questions that you might have. As Mr. Schwartz said, we're going to sort of lead into the 12th grade schedule. The 12th grade afternoon learning has added components, and that it's not only in the English Secular Studies department. So the 12th grade, their Musarvad is actually scheduled right after the time we would otherwise have had dismissal, and it will be such a loss. The Rabbeim are here and ready to go to dismiss at that point in time. So the 12th grade is going to stay a little longer. In general, the 12th grade schedule is a bit longer. They're going to stay till 3:30, and then at that point in time, they'll have their dismissal and also have about an hour to get themselves together to be ready for the next class that will take place via Zoom at home. The 12th grade that are doing the Beis Medrash program, that will actually continue in person. That will go in the afternoon even later until about 4:50. And again, the Rabbeim will explain the schedules and the details to them, but just the idea in terms of dismissal, the regular 12th grade at 3:30, and those who are doing the 12th grade high school Beis Medrash program will go to 4:50, and then they'll continue the rest of the learning via Zoom remotely at home. In terms of the Mishmar Night Seder, which is an obvious question that came up, the truth is this is something that we were anyway fighting and battling internally, not with each other, but trying to understand within ourselves what the right thing to do is. To be in mask for so long each day and to really function properly in such a setting is not so simple. And we realized that, we heard that from parents. And we were anyway leaning towards perhaps moving a Mishmar Night Seder towards Zoom and doing it at home. In light of this decision, even more so, we're going to do the Mishmar Night Seder at home. It will be a lighter schedule with the starting in yeshiva and moving back at home. The Rabbeim will communicate to each of their shiurim based on shiurim's regular schedule and needs what the Mishmar schedule will be, but you will not need to drive your son back to yeshiva again for that learning each night. Another question that was brought to us was, will there be enough space for socially distant davening? And the truth is, we love davening in the Beis Medrash, and we can't wait till Hashem gives us that opportunity to join together as a tzibur with well over 100 people, one of the largest minyanim south of Baltimore, together on a weekday morning. But obviously was not intended for this year, and we're really going to keep each grade socially distant in their own multi-purpose room. And the yeshiva is being set up that the auditorium, the room we call the Coca-Cola room, the soda room, and the dining room being split into two parts is each going to be set aside for one grade, and they're going to be davening over there. They're going to sit distance with masks, as is the yeshiva policy, and these rooms will function for each of these shiurim as a mini Beis Medrash, as their dining room, as their workroom, and so on. We are still planning, Bez Hashem, this year on continuing our sort of experiment last year that we did before COVID closed us down in person of the Sephardi Minyan. We have had the schus to be in contact with Rabbi Yaakov Laredo, and he's going to be moving towards the high school and running the Sephardi Minyan over here by us. This year, due to COVID, we're not going to be able to offer it to all the grades at one time. We'd have to start with 1 or 2 grades, and even that, in the media center, distance, and so on, as our priority, obviously, is safety. And Bez Hashem will have the opportunity sometime in the, hopefully, near future to share that with the entire high school. Will the yeshiva still provide breakfast and lunch? How will the food be served? Will the boys be eating socially distanced? Again, socially distanced is something that is a requirement. This was actually updated recently on the YTCTE FAQ sheet that was put out after the original town hall meeting. The DACHS answer is slightly different than other divisions, but we're going to be having pre-portioned meals, which is not something we had in the past. For lunch, it'll be have to be pre-portions. It'll also have to be pre-ordered. We're not going to be able to last minute just dish out a little more of a lasagna, whatever else is being served. But hopefully everyone will have their schedules and when they need to order meals from yeshiva, clear, and they'll be able to order in advance. Both breakfast and lunch will be served in yeshiva, breakfast for everyone, lunch to those who order. The rooms will be sanitized regularly. They will be eating in that multi-purpose room, again, for each division, for each grade in their own area. We actually are going to be staggering the meals, not interaction. It sounds painful to say it, but there is an interaction between the different grades. This is one of the things that we're excited about in yeshiva, that the 9th and 12th graders become close to Beis Medrash Bachrim, as we'll talk about that soon. But in our focus of keeping safety the highest priority, we will have each grade grow in its own, and the boys will come as close to each other as possible within their socially distanced rules. And then Bez Hashem will be able to spread forth after that when the time is right. Someone noted that the calendar they got in the mail mentions a lot of events as if all is normal, but it doesn't really reflect the current plans. It's 100% correct. There was actually a discussion during the summer, what calendar should we put out? Should we put out a calendar if we go on Zoom, if we're doing hybrid, if we're here, if we're there? And the decision which makes, to me, resonates very well, is that the calendar reflects what it would be in a regular school year. And our hope and tefillah is that at any point in time, we could snap our fingers and switch back that way. But any changes that we made from the calendar, obviously we'll communicate as clearly as possible to our parent body, to our student body, and you'll be aware of that. But as of now, our hope is to run as much programming as we can as soon as we're able to. The back to school night, when and where will it be held? It's gonna have to be on Zoom. It's actually listed on the one-page schedule that was in the back to school packet. If you have not gotten yours yet, by the way, by mail, you're welcome to send an email to the office, DACHS@ytcte.org, and let them know, and they'll give you any information you need to know, and if we need to send out anything further, we'll do so. An email will go out tomorrow night with the exact information regarding the back to school night. It'll be via Zoom at 8 p.m. next Monday night, and again, as Rabbi Gita said, we hope to see all of you there. Will there be a dormitory? Is there a Beis Medrash? To what degree will the boys coming from home be interacting with these groups? Yes, the dorm meeting will actually take place soon after this meeting about their policies. During the school day, they will be in masks like everyone else coming from their home. They will also be in masks during the school day. And the Beis Medrash will also have their own little world, but the high school is not going to be interacting with the Beis Medrash, as they are living in their own home, in their own little bubble, as they say, and we want to make sure that they're safe and we're safe and we're kept in our own little worlds. The yeshiva is being divided up, different areas that we're using, different areas that they're using, and it's going to be, Bez Hashem, very clear, and we'll be able to move forward that way. When will the boys find out about all these new procedures? So you're welcome to share with them what you know from the previous town hall meeting, from the FAQs that were printed on the website, and from this meeting. Additionally, this year we added an in-person orientation this year for all grades due to COVID. That was also sent in the back to school packet. And on Tuesday, each of the grades will have a chance to meet with their rabbeim, with administration, and getting a feel for what yeshiva is going to look like during COVID, so that they don't come the first day to come in on davening and don't know where to go and what to do. How are we dividing up the classrooms amongst the students? We only have a few classes that have more than one grade in them. There's a few 10, 11 Bekias options. And in those, Shir and the two grades will sit separately within the room. But otherwise, each grade is going to have its own classroom. The number one priority that we felt, based on our consultation with our medical board, was to use the largest rooms for the larger classes, the smaller rooms for the smaller classes, maximizing space between students so that we have those 3 feet between students, the 6 feet to the teachers. Second priority was minimizing movement in the hallways, minimizing movement in classrooms coming in and out, keeping everyone in the same area as much as possible. And that's really reflected in the schedule that we spent a lot of time creating. And if we have to shift and switch and adjust again due to the needs, then Bez Hashem will do the best we can to move forward with that also. How will we run the Friday enrichment class without mixing grades? Mr. Schwartz spent a lot of time working on a new model for Friday enrichment, but until after Yontif, we're not going to be doing Friday enrichment. Dismissal will be at 12 o'clock, and we're going to make available something that we did last year when we went to Zoom, and we found it very successful for the students who seize the opportunity, and we encourage you to encourage your sons to do so. The teachers are going to make themselves available via Zoom to work with students individually or in small groups on work they need help with. And as the school year builds up, this is something that you don't want to fall behind in. This might be something to take opportunity at the beginning as we're getting started and to meet with your teacher, and we'll have a system that they'll be able to know which teachers are available when, and that will be something that could be a tremendous opportunity for any student to just falling a little out and get that boost and come back in before falling further down. A lot of parents were concerned about sports. What will our policy be about sports? We're also concerned. Safety of it, also the loss of not having it. Though when you're outdoors, there is more room to breathe. Masks can come off if you maintain a distance, preferably 6 feet, but minimally 3. But still, we're not comfortable with contact sports. The PE department is working hard on many alternate options for other sports, other types of games that the boys will find a lot of fun. Our coach, the PE coach, will be running. We have a lot that we're going to put into place to make it enjoyable here in Yeshiva for the time that we're here, as we've always done, but it's going to look a little different like everything around us. Will the media center be open for business? FLVS students, definitely it's going to be open to business. However, it's going to be distance, and it's going to be in small groups. Smaller numbers at one time than we had in the past. Smaller numbers will be able to enter at the same time due to distancing, obviously. My son is staying home, at least until after Yontif. A number of you said that. How will you integrate him into the yeshiva? There'll be a Zoom orientation to answer many questions, just like the in-person orientation next Tuesday. Rabbeim and teachers will be in contact with your sons, but please don't hesitate to reach out to us. As we learned last year, there's a certain distance when the boys are not here, and the Rabbeim teachers will make an extra effort to shorten that distance. But if there's anything going on, anything in your mind, and especially in these difficult times, something that it's important to share with us, please reach out to myself, or Brigida, to your son's Rebbe, to his teachers, whoever it's relevant for, to the Secular Studies Administration, and hopefully we could help you as much as possible and help your son thrive in this atmosphere. How will the boys survive so many hours with the masks on? We are doing a number of things to make it easier. Obviously, our plan until Yontif makes that easier, only going till 3 o'clock, actually 3:05 in the schedule before we dismiss. That obviously makes it a little easier, but our plan is to lengthen the breaks between classes. Sometimes the teacher or the Rebbe might pause in the middle of class, either individually, if a certain student needs to go out and go outside and literally get a breather, take off the mask and breathe it and just feel that for a minute or two and then come back. Or perhaps as a group, when deemed necessary, the day ending earlier, obviously, will contribute to that for the time being. What is the procedure if my son needs to stay home for a day because of COVID extra precautions? So we're going to put the following policy in place. The parents can email DACHS@ytce.org, DACHS@ytce.org, with information of why your son is staying home and for how long it's anticipated. And we'll forward that to all the teachers. We're going to have a document that's going to be shared internally. And the truth is this is the policy in the handbook, even before, even after COVID. If your son is sick for whatever reason, it's always best to inform the school so we can inform the teachers and they can know how to follow up and best help your son. But certainly this year, so that no one sort of takes advantage of the system. What I mean by that is as follows. If a boy is sick and really can't come into school, even if it's not COVID related, by all means, let's use this Zoom opportunity as a way, if he's feeling up to it, as a way for him to attend class. But we don't want it to be that a boy who's ready and able to attend class wakes up in the morning a little late, a little tired, not in the mood, and doesn't come to school. That's not what it's for. A student who does that will be officially marked absent. He can still come, join the Zoom, join the class. If there's any need that you see as a parent for your son to stay home, please email DACHS@ytce.org. Let us know about it. We will forward it to the other teachers. We'll be in contact with you if it's necessary. I think it'll be a great opportunity to keep the students that are stuck at home fully on board and moving along in the learning, and those who are able to come to yeshiva to come to yeshiva. Now, obviously, if a student were to test positive for COVID, chas v'shalom, or there's more serious COVID symptoms, that is more than just an email to the office that we may find out sometime in the morning when the office opens up. For that, please contact myself or Rabbi Brigida as soon as possible. We try to put a system into place that'll hopefully be smooth. What we're asking you to do is, you're welcome to text me. We're going to give out my cell phone number along with a number of other important email addresses and Zoom information in the upcoming days. We're going to send out an email to all the parents with that. And you should text me on my cell phone to let me know that there's a need, more of a serious concern, COVID related. Hopefully I will respond to you within the next 10, 15 minutes. If I do not, and whatever reason, that means I wasn't available, you're welcome to text Rabbi Brigida also, so that we have a 1-2 and a backup plan, and hopefully we'll be able to deal with any more serious COVID issues. It might be something that other parents need to know about. other students need to know about. A broader decision has to be made. We need to speak to the medical board, and we want to make sure we approach it as cautiously and intelligently as possible. So by all means, let us be as open and forward with this information. I think that'll make it the safest school year possible. Will there be a Shabbos minyan? And what about the other extracurricular programming? So Be'ez Hashem, we will have our local Shabbos minyan this year. For those of you who are new, for the boys who live in North Miami Beach, we have a minyan here in Yeshiva on Shabbos morning. And follow the minyan, there's Kiddush and there's learning. The Shabbos minyan, which in the past we've opened to others outside of our high school, we're only going to invite current Talmidim and current Rabbeim. Those are the only people that are allowed to come, current Talmidim in the high school and current Rabbeim. Sorry, we can't offer other family members to join. We'll hope to have even a Kiddush afterwards if we're able to work it out in a healthy, socially distant way, and some morning with Rabbeim, Be'ez Hashem. And that should be a little piece of what we offer on Shabbos to continue. The extracurricular piece of yeshiva is very important to the boys, and it's very important to us. And we're really working on an aspect of each part of it to find a way to continue to do it. Some entirely and some partially. I had a conversation with one of the Rabbeim this morning about one of the extra shiurim he gives. Okay, how can we do it a little differently? But at least we'll do it as much as we can. And Be'ez Hashem, as we go through the school year and we go through step by step, we will convey each of these programs to the boys as they open up and they become available. The JCC for now is not an option due to a lot of concerns that they have in their restrictions, and we would have to comply with that. But again, as soon as that becomes available and we're able to set that in motion, we'll love to do so. What would the dress code be for students on Zoom? The Mishnah Berurah by Hilchos Shabbos talks about if a person is alone for Shabbos. The halacha is if you're alone for Shabbos, you're still supposed to wear beautiful Shabbos clothing, because the kavod is not for the people around you. The kavod is how we demonstrate the kavod for Shabbos. The same is for the kavod of learning, kavod hatzfilah, and we do ask that all students who are on Zoom, whether it's those who are doing the entire day on Zoom or those that start here in yeshiva and then go home, remain in dress code the entire day. It's very important to us, and even the things that are off the screen and we can't see, it makes a difference to everyone, and we really hope that we use that to enhance the learning and enhance the kavod HaTorah and the importance of everything we are doing here in the education of yeshiva. I don't know if Rabbi Brigida had any questions that came up in the middle that he wanted to bring up, but I'm finished the ones that I had.
We have one great question of a drivers that I think sums up all the questions. Will there be an email recapping all the changes? I think that sums it up. There was a lot of information given over, and I'm sure a lot of confusion. I think the one main piece to walk away from the meeting is the biggest change, the change in schedule, and that is that for grades 9 through 11, dismissal is going to be at 3 o'clock. Then they're going to go home, and an hour later, we think an hour is enough time for the boys to get home, even the boys that live a little bit further away. An hour later, the boys will be having their Zoom classes with a slightly adjusted schedule for the remaining periods of the day. Depending on the student, it'll range from 2 to 4 periods depending on his schedule. But dismissal is going to be at 3 o'clock. Zoom classes will resume, at 4 o'clock, and they'll have their remainder 2 to 4 periods for the rest of the day. And yes, in Mitzvah Shem, we will send out an email recapping these changes. There was a question about whether there were any changes to the Sunday schedule. Rabbi Dreyfus, you want to address that?
Sunday schedule, Be'ez Hashem, should remain the same. The Rabbeim, Be'ez Hashem, should continue to teach and be healthy, and that's really our plan to continue it that way. So the Sunday schedule, both for the regular shiur and those with the extended hours, are going to be the same.
There was a couple of questions about the bus service that we're providing to Hollywood and to Miami Beach, and the expectation is that the bus service will still be available at the adjusted dismissal times. Question, just to make it clear, will all classes be on Zoom? All classes after 3 o'clock will be on Zoom. We have 6 periods in the afternoon, which are made up of 4 secular classes, a PE, and a Bekias class. And all of the classes that come after 3 o'clock will be on Zoom. So the last 4 periods will be on Zoom. The first 2 will be in person, just to get that clarification. There was a question, is there a Zoom option for the student orientation? There's a Zoom option for the orientation for the students that will be starting the school year on Zoom. For the students that will be starting the school year in person, we really want them to come in because the orientation is not just in the classroom, the orientation is taking them through the building. There's a new layout of how they'll be walking through the building, which areas are available to which grades. We want them to see it in person. So if the student is planning to attend in person, he should come in person. If the student is planning to start the school year on Zoom, then there'll be a Zoom orientation. Rabbi Dreyfus, there was a question about 12th grade, Monday and Wednesday, Mishmar. Do you want to address the Mishmar situation?
So the Mishmar, really, we're going to have each Rebbe communicate to the Talmidim to try to work it out in a way that works best for the needs of that year. So we're going to hold off on that tonight because there's going to be a lot of differences regarding the honor share, the regular share, the extra high school-based Medrash B'kiyos, and so on. So the Rabbeim will communicate those to the Talmidim and work that out, but no one will have to come back in person. So it doesn't affect any carpool, any driving of that nature.
Okay, thank you. And there was a question regarding which minyanim will the Sephardi minyan include? The answer to that question, we need your participation for. We sent out an email. If you didn't see the email, you could go to your emails and put in the word affirmation in your search. An email will come up. We're requesting you to let us know if your children are coming and that you are agreeing to the health standards that we're putting in place. When you respond to that email, then we know who's showing up in school, who's not. I suspect that the people that responded to the email are the same people that are here tonight, but the more responses that we get to that, the better we'll be able to answer the question. We want that the Sephardi minyan to cater to as many people as possible, and it really depends on the responses that will be coming in. There was a question regarding if my son would like to stay in school, to do his Zoom classes in school after the 3 o'clock dismissal, is that an option? Rabbi Dreyfus, would you like to address that?
This is something that we definitely want to try to consider, and there's been a talk amongst us about that, and we have to try to find a way to get the answer from the parents to see what numbers of parents would be interested in that. Obviously, for the boys who've been in a mask all day and to continue learning in a mask for another 2 hours or so is certainly a challenge. But for those who'd be interested in staying because they feel for hashgacha purposes or otherwise, it makes sense to stay in school. That's certainly something we want to consider. The truth is, while we brought that up, there was something that going on in the back of my mind that we were intending to speak about, and that is for those who are going home, since the students will be heading and learning at home and doing it Zoom from home. We obviously have very, very significant concerns with boys going online and on the internet, anything that might be out there, and just to be an open world is obviously very dangerous in these times. Last year, we invested a tremendous amount of time and money into the purchase and distribution of these Chromebooks that were made especially that they could only access the sites that the yeshiva was comfortable with and the families would be comfortable with. We want to try to make that again available so that the boys who are going home, if you know that at home you don't have a safe option for your son to do the computer on and do the work on, then we want to make one of these Chromebooks available to you. So in the same form or survey we'll send out, we'll ask whether or not you're interested in possibly staying in for school for a little longer, and also the possibility of whether or not you want to go use a Chromebook. We'll disseminate that information as soon as possible, and then once we have the feedback from the parents, we'll be able to make a plan for those who need something different than what we described.
Okay. Rabbi Dreyfus, the students who are doing the Zoom lessons, beginning the school year full-time Zoom, how are they going to receive their materials such as Svarim and books?
Okay. So Schwartz and I have been working on this already for a couple of days, trying to find a timing and a way to do it. But the assumption as of now is that Mr. Schwartz plans on making himself very readily available during afternoons for a number of days, Wednesday, Thursday, when school starts, and make appointments for those who want to come pick it up, and we'll get the books to them. But we'll convey this to the students on the Zoom orientation, Bez Hashem, next Tuesday. We'll give them the way to contact us and the exact times, but we will take care of you, don't worry.
Okay. Is there an option for any of the teachers who are coming in to teach the classes live even after 3 o'clock and boys to stay, or are they only going to be able to participate in the classes over Zoom?
You waiting for me to answer that?
Yes, if you know the answer.
I do know the answer, but I thought you knew it too. Yeah, that's included in what we want to try to provide for those parents and students and families who feel that the comfortable thing, the safer thing is to stay in yeshiva, assuming they're ready to maintain our standards of distancing and wearing masks and so on. We'll try to provide that also, and we'll have to disseminate that information of which teachers are going to be teaching live as we give out those schedules in the upcoming days.
Okay, someone submitted a question. My son is concerned how he can learn if he can't come now. So I just want to clarify, the hybrid option is still there. For students that can come in, our classrooms have been outfitted with the proper technology to be able to accommodate the students that can't come in for the mornings either. We're not going to be able to do that for davening. We're not going to be Zooming the davening. The davening is going to be in different rooms, not in the classroom, and we don't have the technology set up there, and it's also not as purposeful. So we're not going to be setting up the Zoom technology for the davening, but if your son can't come in at all, there's an option set up for him that he will be able to participate in a very functional way through Zoom in the regular classroom. Rabbi Dreyfus, in terms of the times for the 9th grade, or this particular question was about the 9th grade orientation on Tuesday. It was placed in, there was a flyer in the back to school packet, which hopefully you got. I know we're having post office issues these days, but there was a flyer in the back to school packet that has that orientation, and we will send out a email reminder. I don't remember the times for each grade's orientation off the top of my head, but we'll send out an email reminder about that as well. Will the gym be open for the students to use? The gym will be open for the students to use. We were in touch with our medical board, who gave us advice.
Referring to the gym, you mean the exercise room that we're referring to?
Yes, I assume so, unless somebody built something for us I don't know about yet. But our medical board gave us advice on how many people we could have in there, on how to properly clean it down between students that are using it, and it will be open with those precautions in place. I think we addressed all the questions that come in, and Meir Hashem, we will post a lot of these details either in an email or on the website. We're not disappearing. We're here for questions. I see there's still questions coming in about the bus to Miami Beach. We're still expected to have a 3 o'clock bus with the dismissal to Miami Beach and to Hollywood. There are a lot of dormitory specific questions that need to be addressed. There's going to be a separate follow-up meeting now for hopefully about 15 minutes for the dormitory parents who want to hear a little bit more about that or have some questions about that. That's going to be on a separate Zoom. Don't just stay on this Zoom. You have to join a new meeting. The ID for that meeting is my cell phone number. I'm pretty sure all the dormitory parents have my cell phone number. If you don't text me, I'll send it to you. And we'd like to thank everyone very much for bearing with us. Rabbi Wiener wrote 12th grade, 1:30 to 2:15. I don't understand your question, Rabbi Wiener. 2:30 to 3:15.
He's probably writing out the orientation schedule, but we'll give that out.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Rabbi Wiener. All right. Count on your assistance. Okay. Thank you very much, Rabbi Wiener. And once again, we'd like to thank everybody for their participation. We had close to 100 families joining us tonight. Thank you very much, Evan, for your participation. We're here full-time in the office these days. Please reach out to us if you have any questions, if you have any particular situation where this doesn't work out for you, with the change in schedule doesn't work out for you, carpool, whatever it is, reach out to us and we'll do whatever we can to accommodate. Rabbi Wiener says the 9th grade orientation is 3:30 to 5 o'clock. Thank you, Rabbi Wiener. Thank you very much again for joining us. Again, the dorm parents, please join myself and Rabbi DACHS now for a bit of a continuation on my personal Zoom on my cell phone. Have a great night and hope to see you in person, Emir Hashem, very, very soon. But thank you very much for joining us.